for that data, is a data example. Manufacturer of insulation randomly selects 20 winter days and records the daily heights and daily highs of temperatures. So once you have that, and if you look at the highest and the smallest here and the largest, the way I would do this is I'll select this data, go to Excel, and I'm hitting Control New, which creates a new sheet basically. I paste that data. Not quite what I wanted. So when you go paste it, there are several options most of the times. It would still not, it's basically keeping it into one cell for whatever reason. All right, problems. When you do actual work, you get into all sorts of problems. What do you do with a data like this? You want the number separated, but then when you're pasting it, it's coming like that. What would you do? You go to data, and there is something called text to column. So this is basically a text, and I want to separate it as column. So I'll say next, and I'll say next. What do you want to column data format? It's fine. No. Back.
Yes,
This is a tab. I want a comma, and then I hit finish. See? Again, you have to play with it to actually get it. I mean, I cannot. Even I don't sometimes think what I'm doing. So I got the data the way I want it. Now I want to know what's the maximum, and this is easy. You can eyeball it and say which one is the maximum. It looks like 58 is the maximum, right? The minimum, it looks like 12. 12 is the smallest. All right, so the maximum, but then if you have a lot of data, you cannot eyeball it anymore. So I'll select this and say, well, what is the maximum? What is the minimum? So the range, now I have that range. So if I want to say, well, from 12 to 15, 12 to 15 is my first category. How many are there? From 15 to 18, how many are there? And if I go on doing this, I'll get a graph like this. This is basically a histogram. It tells you how many within each range do you have. Along the vertical axis, it gives the y is how many, the numbers. Right? So that is a histogram. How do you do it? You can do it in Excel very easily without doing any bins or anything. Excel has a funny way of calculating these ranges, but you can let Excel do it for you. Going to data analysis, you can go and say, well, create me a histogram. What is the data? The data is this data. The input. Bin, I leave it empty, and I'll come back to what is a bin. All right, new worksheet. There is no labels. What are labels? If I had the data labeled as these are the temperatures, then I would say yes, there is a label somewhere. But here there isn't. So I'll just take this and say, well, run the histogram. And it gave me the histogram. What is it telling you? It's telling you between 12 and that's the midpoint, so it's taking probably from 9 to, from 0 to 15, and then from 15 to 30, that's what it's doing. And it's plotting at the middle how much each temperature, how many are there in that range. All right? This is what Excel did, and it looks pretty fine to me, but it might not be the best representation. So you might want to do this using a bin, where the bins here are the midpoints, that is, are these values. But you can also do this. Instead of that, I can say, well, make my bins like this. First one is 5, the next one is 15, the next one is 25, and so on and so forth. So I'll just drag. And I know 58 is the maximum, so I'll go till 65 maybe. And it's showing you at a small box See the 65, 55, 65? So that's what I got the bins as. I can do the same thing, and I say histogram. The data is the same, but now I want the bins to be the way I want it to look. That's what I did. New worksheet chart output. It looks very similar, but then that is how I wanted it to look. If instead I wanted the Pareto graph, I would do the same thing. My bins, you'll select the Pareto sorted histogram. And while we are at it, instead of showing you again, I'll also select the cumulative. And that is how it is. So what that tells you is what temperature group had the maximum number of days or for you. So the group between, and I remember that's the midpoint 35. So it goes from 30 to 40. That's where 30 to 40 is where the maximum number of days highest temperature were. All right. So and it's the same histogram, but I've just made it into to know which ones are the more common ones. I've called it a Pareto so that it's ordered in a descending order, so you know which ones are more important. All right. So that is the histogram, and this is called an ogive or a frequency polygon. It's basically, it takes the middle point, 35 is the point that is, which is middle between 30 and 40, and it takes that point and says, well, the total percentage of that is of 2 days of the total of whatever, how many days that you have, 100%. So 20% of the data comes from the first one. All right? And it gives you the total cumulative percentages that each one add to the next, each pillar, this pillar adds 20%. The next one adds a little bit less, or whatever. And then it gives you 100% of the total. So it's a little bit easier to see it here, actually in a real histogram than a Pareto diagram. The ogive is probably easier to see in normal histogram. Histogram, no Pareto, please do this. This is a lot more, this is how you should do it. If you're doing an ogive, this is what you should have. Between 0 to 5, there is nothing. 0 to 10. From 10 to 20, that's the 15 point. The total percentage is about, I think about 10% of the total number of days. All right? Going from 10 to 20 to 20 to 30, you have an additional, another about similar person, but a little bit more, I think. So the amount of the proportion, the total percentage of that pillar. The highest jump is for the highest group. This is the highest group. So this is the tallest one. So